Mm-hmm.
middle initial A,
Mm-hmm.
and then STRANE. Should be live on
Got
there.
it. Disconnected.
Awesome. Oops.
Great.
Still have my old my old title. I guess it still applies. So I use Restream, which allows me to like do what I just did. Click one button and it stream to all these places.
And then it goes everywhere. Yeah, that's amazing.
So I put like one title and it like puts that title and everything. But I forgot I did a live yesterday. So now I'm gonna put live enlightened conversation with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then for you, what's your name on Facebook so I can tag you?
So I just added you. So my name is the same as Instagram. So it's Sophie Josefina.
Okay. Awesome. See if my brain feeds me your right name today. That was so funny in the video yesterday.
It's a hard name, I know.
Well, I think both names are cool, Sophie and Josefina, and then Josie, and like all the variations of the name is cool. So it was hard for my brain to decipher.
It's funny because I have a very Dutch name, and I changed it to this, thinking it would be easier for people to understand.
Oh, you changed it to
It's not.
You have a cool name. You'd say you could be like any type of actor, actress, artist, any type of.
I like that. That's what I was trying to create.
Yeah, you have a good name. Okay, Sophie. Got it. All right, guys, we're going to go live, do enlightened conversations in 1 second. Find Sophie. I'm going to tag you properly.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Then I've been even pointing my camera at the screen so that the Instagram peeps can see. Then I'll put a little message if they want to join us on Zoom. They can.
Yes, do.
Okay, there you go. With Tantra teacher and coach.
Yeah.
I think the Tantra teacher and coach gets people's attention for sure. I've noticed. People's attention stays on the post for a slight second longer. Like, what are they talking about?
What's that?
All right. I'll share in a few groups. Boom, boom. All right, we're ready. Global. Done. All right, guys, getting ready to start. I have Sophie here, and if you guys want to join us live, you can. You just have to go to that link. Is supposed to be there, but if you guys find me on Instagram, I'll make it easy for you. The Angel of Abundance, and you could swipe up on any of those stories that are talking about this podcast. You guys can join us inside of the Zoom if you want to. Ask questions, whatever your heart desires. Start in 30 seconds, going live on Instagram. All right, awesome. Let's go. All right, let's do it. Just getting my toy, my tripod toy ready.
Got your whole setup going.
I know. So I can't do any of this stuff until I get you on, because I never want people to come into a live stream. I like to live stream once they're on. So
yeah.
All right. Okay. That's a rough view for you Instagram people. You guys want to join us on the what you're seeing on the screen? Go to my swipe up story and you guys can join us on Zoom, or watch it like that. Whatever you like. All right, let's do it. Record. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Really excited for today and to introduce you guys to an awesome guest. We're going to have fun today. I have Sophie Josefina, who I didn't ask you what part of the planet you're on, so I'll ask you that in a second. I don't know where you are in the world, but she is an awesome human. She is a Tantra teacher and coach, and came across her Instagram page not too long ago, and I reached out to her, told her that she was awesome, and asked her if she wanted to have a fun conversation with me, which we are going to do today. So excited to introduce you guys to Sophie, and if you could share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, all this good stuff, and what part of the planet you're in.
So I'm in Amsterdam.
Where
are you actually calling from?
I had no idea. We're gonna have a conversation about this afterwards. Yes,
Across the ocean.
yes. I'm in Miami Beach, so yes, across the ocean.
Okay, nice. Okay, great. Yeah, so I am a conscious sex and relating coach, which pretty much means I think I'm a life coach that uses sexuality and how people relate to create transformation and to go deeper with them. And in most of my work, what I'm really trying to do is for people to connect deeper to life, for people to connect deeper to themselves, with other people. And with that, for that, I use Tantra and I combine it with neuroscience, actually. So I have a background in data science. I like when kind of spirituality and science comes together to kind of, because those two worlds actually are very much compatible. And that means that I really look at how we process things, how we process trauma, how we process energy, how we process emotions. And that's the neuroscience part. And then I use tantric rituals because actually tantric rituals are super like in tune with that to help people really be with life as it is. That's what I think Tantra is. Like people try to ask me the sales pitch of what Tantra is. I think it's being with what is and letting that flow. And so that means on the sexuality part that I teach people to be lovers, to show up for each other and to really show up for what is happening between them and to let that flow so that life can flow how it wants to. And to kind of let go of that sex needs to look a certain way or be in a certain way. And then the other part that I do is I'm really fascinated by everything masculine and feminine. So we all have masculine and feminine energies. What I really do with my clients is I help them return to what their essence is. So most women will have in their essence want to be more in their feminine. I'm not saying all of them, I'm saying most. So for instance, for women, a lot of them are stuck in the strong, independent woman, which is actually a masculine energy. I did it my whole life. I burnt out like crazy. I had a 2-year-long burnout. My whole body like collapsed because I looked very feminine. I was very feminine, but I was stuck in my masculine, in the producing, in the doing, in the proving, in the directional, in the focus. I was so much in that energy. I burnt out completely because I didn't get the nourishment that I needed as a woman. And it also meant that I was attracting weird partners because I wanted a man to just be there for me, but I wasn't surrendering. So I would get partners that weren't fitting into that very well. And with my work with men, I think a lot of men have rejected in themselves their masculine being because we think masculine energy is such a source of so much pain and danger. So a lot of men have rejected that in themselves. So my work with men is really on really embracing the masculine energy, but also the darker masculine, the part of you that can ravish, that can really take leadership. And what does that look like? So I always speak about like connecting the sex center with the heart again for men and letting them penetrate the world from that energy. So that's a little bit of what I do.
I love it. So much more in depth and detail than I even knew. Like I described Sophie as a tantra teacher and coach, and she's way more than that. Which we all labels are so fun because what can we really add in the few characters that are given to us on social media? So
yeah, exactly.
I knew there was more behind the scenes, and I'm very excited for this conversation. Already was, and now I am even more. And I love a few things that you highlighted there. Just how important, and that all of us are energy, and how important it is for all areas of life, and definitely applies to our sexuality and our enjoyment of this part of life, and all of these things. And also, I love how you mentioned just right at the beginning that so when it comes to energy, and how a lot of times we're not allowing it to flow, and not allowing ourselves to really just embody like who we truly are. It could cause some challenges as far as being able to connect and to be able to enjoy the areas of life that that we enjoy, sexuality being a big part of it. I'm just curious for you, like I'm always curious how the light bulb comes on for people and how their journey starts. And I fully believe that all of us came into this life as just little unconditional loving little babies, and at some point for a lot of us, maybe it's early childhood or whatever it is, we start comparing ourselves and asking ourselves, are we enough? Or wondering why I'm not as tall as them or not as pretty as them, or whatever ideas that we tell ourselves. And then it's my hope, and the reason I do what I do is that we can remember who we truly are, and that we're just different expressions of the same non-physical energy, and all of these things. So for you, how did your light bulb happen, or did you just stay woke like your whole time as a little youngster and beyond?
So I only learned 2 years ago that I was raised in Tantra. I didn't, my mother, who was part of this, didn't call it that, but I learned that it was part of classical Tantra. So from a very young age, I knew what it was to be in physical bliss and to be in physical ecstasy. And I think people who go to church where like everything is like, whew, they know that, right? That experience of just utter physical bliss. So I knew that from a very young age, and I was meditating from a very young age. So for me, spirituality coming through the body was a concept that had always been part of my life. I just didn't know it was Tantra. And then I was raised by Dutch parents who were very liberal generally. So sexuality for me was never really something that was wrong or that wasn't allowed. So I remember being very young and my mother just said, you know, you have a relax button on your body when you're stressed out, right? Like things like this. So for me, sexuality was never really judged as much. What did happen is as I started going to college is that I was very, very much judged by the world. And that was just such a strange concept to me because I thought sex was so beautiful. And I would just be like slut shamed or just people were very intimidated, or they just thought it was wrong, or I shouldn't be so open about it. And I remember that I just didn't understand why. Like there was an innocence to it that I thought what I share with another human being, even if it's casual sex, is so beautiful. Like, how is this wrong? How is this not what I'm allowed to do? Like, these are two consenting adults. And also I found it very weird what we were expecting from women to, on the one hand, be very sexy, but then when I became sexual, I was to be shamed. And so I never really understood where you wanted me to be in society. I'm like, which part do you want me to be on? I don't understand. So I was confused more by not being met by open arms by the world. Like, this is beautiful. And I think, then I ended up working in this very corporate life, and I got this very bad burnout. Like my whole body collapsed. I was having seizures every 48 hours. Like my body just wasn't functioning. And in that, one of the journeys I did is I went to Thailand. And I ended up on Koh Phangan. For anybody that knows that, that's like a tantric epicenter on this world. It's like a tantric village. And I did my first real tantric workshop there. And I remember we had to sit on top of each other. If you know this, it's like yap yum. It's just two people sitting on top of each other and kind of having your bodies to each other and having your chakras aligned. And all we did was just visualize the energy going into the earth, into our first chakra, into the earth, second chakra. And this was like a 45-minute meditation. And by the end of it, we were fully clothed. Like there was no stimulation whatsoever. I didn't know the guy. I felt uncomfortable. By the end of it, I had a 10-minute long energetic orgasm. And I thought, what is this? This feels like the most natural thing in the world. And why haven't I been taught that this is an option? And that's really where I started to think like Tantra should, like even if you don't believe in God or universe, spirituality, like because you have a physical body, you can have these kind of experiences, and everybody should have at least the roadmap to get there, because it's beautiful, it's sacred, it's transformational. This is what I do now when I need anything. This is my go-to place, and to reframe sexuality from something transactional towards like really the arena for healing, for transformation, for uplifting, for everything.
I love it. I love it. We're talking about my favorite part of life, Sophie, like by far. And when I realized that all of us are energy, like when I became aware of this, I became aware of this is who all of us truly are. And even though I only speak English, so we have words, and it's very ironic. Literally 5 minutes before I came on with you, I just posted the most recent episode of the podcast, and the title is "How to Reach the Quote Higher Frequencies: Bliss, Love, Bliss, Ecstasy, Nirvana, Euphoria." Like this is the title of the most recent podcast. By the time you guys hear this will already been out. That's episode 121. But we're about to talk about a lot of some really good stuff in relation to this, because I just love knowing that as human beings, all that we have is this moment. And so when it comes to like choices that we choose to make, knowing that frequency in 2020 and beyond, like you mentioned at the beginning, science and spirituality, like this is all like married right now. Like this can be measured. So like where 100 years ago, this would have sounded like, what does he mean? Like a human being can feel bliss or, ecstasy or nirvana. Like now, even though it's just a label that we're putting on an energetic frequency, it can be measured to where we're like, I feel amazing. I'm going to call that bliss, or I'm going to call that ecstasy, or whatever it is. And for all of us, it would be slightly different. But But my point is, knowing that that's possible for all of us, there's no human on earth that can't reach these higher frequencies. And I say higher, but there's no limit to it. Like, so that's why I put higher in quotes, or highest in quotes, because there's no highest. It's just like we're unlimited as human beings. But just being aware of this, and the only moment that's promised to any of us is right now. And you have an opportunity, if it's something that you want to experience, and you allow yourself to feel these frequencies, which we'll get into in a little bit, how you can reach these for sure.
Yeah.
But if this is an option, what would you rather be doing? Like, not enjoying yourself? Like, I just don't see, like, so when you mention like people like judging others or condemning others for experiencing life in a beautiful way to consenting adults, what would you rather be doing? Like, something a little bit less fun? Okay, teach their own. But when I discovered this, I was like, the moments of my life that I feel, if we have a chance to look back on at the end of our life, that we're going to actually think about and remember, will be the ones with the strongest energetic charge. And might not be only blissful moments, like if we allow ourselves to think about maybe some traumatic moments, still very strong energetic charge. Not going to be just the cool conversation you had one time at the grocery store. May have been a cool conversation, but not a strong enough frequency for you to really remember out of all the life experiences that we've had. So I love talking about this topic so much, because I just want humans to be aware, A, that we can experience this, and then B, how. You know?
And I think it's really important that a man speaks about this. That maybe sounds strange, but I think women's bodies are naturally a bit more energetic, and also our sexual energy is a bit more a full body experience naturally and biologically speaking anyways. And for men to speak about like what it means to be in bliss and in ecstasy and flow and to feel energy. I was listening to one of your other podcasts and you were speaking about this a lot, and I thought, this is so important that a guy speaks about this, that it doesn't become this like fluffy subject. Like, flow state or feeling energy or feeling your partner is such a tangible thing that I would love for just to be a much more normal subject between men.
Absolutely. I'll help make it more normal for sure, because so there's always a reason why the parts of life that we're really like passionate about, that we really enjoy, there was always a time where there was maybe a bit of challenge or circumstance where it's like, I want to evolve this area of life. And so for me, and probably for every guy out there, like there was a time where, you know, I prematurely ejaculated. And I'm sure, like when I was 18, I remember a situation, and like I'll probably never forget it because it was a strong energy, but not in a good feeling way. It was like, oh, like, and there was a girl that I really wanted to enjoy that part of life with, the sexual experience, and just wasn't the right timing. She had a boyfriend or whatever. And then all of a sudden, something happened with that, and I'm getting a text message or a call, like, and she's like, Noel, I really want to hang out with you. And I'm like, awesome, perfect timing, you know? And so go over there, long story short, wasn't able to perform at my like desire. And it was like 2 seconds, way too excited. Like, and then she was like, oh, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. And then that was the last chance I ever got to be able to experience that. And I was like, this feels terrible. So that started my beautiful journey of, let me see how I can enjoy like sex more and be able to last long and to be able to just fully embrace, which even at that time I knew was my favorite part of life. For a lot of guys out there, like you think, well, you have to think about like your grandmother or spiders or something in order to not let, or use numbing creams or, you know, different things, like just terrible experience. And then you ladies, I was always like, you guys can not only orgasm, but orgasm multiple times, continue on with the sexual experience. We're over here trying to like hold back all of our feelings and our energy so that so that we could just like last long enough to not be embarrassed. I was like, this has to be. So that was 18, and like fast forward like years later, that has evolved so much to where, yes, I can have multiple energy orgasms throughout the whole process. Like I can allow myself to go all the way up to the peak and stay there for as long as I want without ejaculating, so that I can get the same feeling. So I could feel the energy of my partner go the whole time. And then when you orgasm, like I can feel it, but I don't have to ejaculate. I can keep going, so I can still have. So there's levels to it, guys out there. So.
But it's possible. Like this is possible for every man.
Yes,
it's possible. It's very possible. It's more. It's different for men because, like, for women, the sexual energy goes from the heart to the sex center, and for men, it actually goes from the sex center to the heart, and that's a movement that we don't often really allow for with men. So men really have to practice like moving that energy up and into the body instead of like having it super localized.
For sure. For sure.
And that's a very dedicated practice. But on the other side, like it's exactly what you're talking about. Like the ejaculation, the orgasm separate.
Yeah. So now, I mean, I could like literally. So my sexual experience, because I enjoy it so much, because of this,
Mm-hmm.
I just want this for every human, male or female. Like for you to be able to enjoy this part of life or any part of life, but just understand how. Because if you have total presence doing anything, especially like in a sexual experience, for me, I haven't discovered a part of life where I can allow my energy to go to this point, just in this physical world. Like I love doing lots of things, but this is just another level of human connection. It's because you have, I mean, there's two of you or more, and you can allow yourself to go. You smile. I'm so open. You just allow yourself to go to places that by yourself is just a little bit more challenging. Not that you can't, but just for me, I just found easier to allow myself to go with other people. So my point is, like, once we discover this and know that if we could just have total presence and allow our energy to flow to these places, it's not going to go there if you're saying, I wonder, is this good? Or I wonder, are they enjoying it? Or should I even be doing this? Or whatever other questions we may be asking ourselves to lose presence, like we just split our energy off and momentum is not going to continue to climb towards that. Another thing that I will say, because of before even having any awareness of like being able to do this sexually, because I made it important to me to live in at least a peaceful, content state in everyday life and allow my momentum to carry me into the higher frequencies of just being happy and excited and passionate and joyful, bliss, whatever you want to call it. That's just momentum taking it there. So if we can get used to allowing our energy to just be awesome in everyday life, it's much easier to allow it to go there when you are doing something that's really, really fun, for you, whatever that is.
Yeah, so what I teach a lot of my clients is to see the orgasm in everything. So also when you're crying or when you're angry or you're going through an emotional state, to have it build up to something and let it come down. And to see that kind of that kind of exercise is everywhere. And so that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be angry, feel it, express it, go fully into it, and really let it have a peak, because that's kind of the natural way to move through things. Like this orgasm thing is everywhere. And that doesn't mean that you have to be horny when you're angry, but it does mean that you can actually invite pleasure in and a physicality and let your body move through it like that. And that's actually a very primal, natural, like animal way to move through things. And that's much more healthy than thinking, why am I angry? I shouldn't be angry. Oh, that's wrong. Ugh. Actually, especially with our emotions and with what we're feeling, it's so healthy to move through it in a much more primal, physical way. And I wanted to just quickly say something about my tantric view on men ejaculating, because I think a lot of people think Tantra says men cannot ejaculate. I think like there are tantric teachers that say this. My personal opinion is if you feel exhausted afterwards and you feel depleted, then you're ejaculating too often. And for usually like young men, like once every 2 weeks, it's totally fine. Or once a week, it's totally fine. But if you start noticing that after you've ejaculated, you feel dead, disconnected, shut down, then it's one too many. So to really kind of start splitting it, but for like with the men that I work with, what I try to teach them is just choice. I don't want to reject like anything is sex. I don't want to reject anything. I'm not here to say ejaculation is bad, porn is bad, any of it's bad, because the moment I say something is bad, it's going to live in the shadow and it's going to take up its own world. What I'd rather have is that there's conscious choice. So you as a man can decide when you want to do that. Or if you want to do that, so that there's a choice in the situation and it isn't something that lives you. And for that, you have to split it a little bit.
Super, super interesting. I'm so pro-choice. Like the words "you should" or "shouldn't" do anything will never come out of my mouth. You just won't hear me say that because A says who. Like where is it written in the clouds that you cannot ejaculate? So for me, I have zero problem ejaculating when it's time in that process, and I always tell my partners like I will ejaculate whenever you say Noel, we need to take a break because of understanding how to enjoy these frequencies and energy, and also being in really good physical shape on purpose because it allows me to enjoy this part of life longer. Like I don't like cardio wise, I don't get tired. Like I just don't. Like I can run for miles, and it just is what it is. So when I do ejaculate, it's so powerful. Like, and it's like that's like a whole nother show. Anybody out there that is like stopping themselves for that, I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. Just be aware that that's That's another
Yeah.
frequency. If that was being measured, that would be a whole nother place. So
Yes.
you could not
Yeah.
experience that if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah. To really take everything out of the shadows. Like we do so much in sex. We say this isn't allowed, this isn't okay, that's not okay. Like
Yes, that's
whatever you desire in sex, whatever you want in sex is sacred.
for sure. For sure.
And it doesn't mean that you can demand it from your partner, but it's still sacred. Like if you have, I don't know, you feel desire for a more BDSM thing, there's nothing wrong with you. Like that's your soul speaking to you saying, I need this kind of nourishment right now. And again, doesn't mean you can demand it from your partner to give it to you, but you can speak about it and say, I notice that there's something in me that's needing this. How can I create or recreate this for me? Because it's sacred. It's sacred.
I'm so happy you just said that. You said it twice just now. And as far as the demands on human beings, I see this as a big challenge for people. And it's coming from a lack mentality versus an abundance mentality. And what it is we forget that we share a planet with 7.7 billion humans. And instead of, we want to turn the person in front of us, whether they're already your partner or someone that you're just physically attracted to or interested in, we want to turn them into, not everybody, but there's been times where, before I was aware of this, it was something that, we want to turn them into what we would have them be, the things that we like we want them to like as well, and want them to do those things as well, when that may not be a part of their journey. That may not be what they want or what they like or what they desire for themselves. So it's okay, and that doesn't have to be like the end-all, be-all of a relationship. It might be, but just remember, keeping in mind that just basic rule, universal law, universal truth for all of us, is we can attract to us whatever it is that we desire. So if you're very clear, which is the most important thing, being super clear on what's important to you, like once you get honest with yourself and you say, this is important to me, these are the things that I really like and that I desire, and you could just be really excited, not having to know how that's going to happen, when, who it's going to be, all these details that typically make us anxious. Now you become the frequency of it right now, and you're very solid on that. So now you can attract people into your life that they like the same things, and you can experience life with them the same way, no matter what it is, whether you want traditional relationship, non-traditional relationship, different things that go on sexually in the relationship, like whatever it is that you are excited about. Trust me, there are millions of humans on Earth that also want the same easily. Like it won't actually be as difficult as you think. What makes it difficult is doubting that you will, wondering, do you have to change yourself in order to have someone love you, or want to spend time. Like all these things make the process go slower because you're not creating that solid energy of, this is what I like, this is what I want, and I don't have to know how, when, where, who, but I'm just gonna keep this frequency as how I live, my state of being, and then I'll attract to myself someone also that wants to live that way. So
there's this amazing book called Deeper Dating, and he really talks about like being authentic in how you bring yourself into the world, and that if you are a shy introvert, to be the shy introvert, to not try to force yourself to be this confident extrovert. Don't be the shy introvert, because then you attract somebody that wants that in their life. And that's also in the masculine feminine work that I do, because if you are a woman that's actually really stuck in your masculine, you're going to attract a man that needs that in his life. And it's maybe not actually what you want. Maybe you want actually the big alpha man that takes care of you, but for that you need to be in a softer state. Otherwise, like an alpha or a king will never want to fight you. He wants to just be there for you. So to really, the more authentic you are in your dating and your relating and how you put yourself in the world, the more you will find someone. You will find someone that will match that. And a lot of people have such scarcity mindsets. Like, I understand. Like it seems so unique that somebody loves you, that it seems like such a hard thought that there will be somebody else that will match me better. But what you're saying, there's so many people in this world. There will be. And as soon as you own what it is that you need in this world, and what you need in your relationships and your sexuality, you will be able to create it. But you have to own it. You have to stand for it. It doesn't mean you can demand it from anybody. It just means that you own it for yourself.
Absolutely. And here's something else that you guys will love out there. You might not even be crystal clear as of today of everything that you ever desire in relationship, or even crystal clear on the things that you see in yourself. But here's the good news for all of us. Like everybody out there on the planet, as of today, as of this moment, you're as clear about what you like, what you don't like, what you want, what you don't want, as you've ever been in your life. Why? Because of all the life experience that we've lived up until today. Great news for all of us. Tomorrow you'll be more clear. Next month you'll be more clear. Next year, it's not promised to us, but when you get there, you're going to be more clear because you're going to live more life. So great news for anybody, like especially when it comes to relationships. Like maybe you have these things that as of right now, you know that you desire. And so you experience your next interaction with another human being. And they have some of those things, but there's also some things where you're like, I don't know if I really want to experience that. But they also had some things where you're like, I didn't even know I wanted to experience that. And that's awesome. So now you just added that to like your desire. And now that life experience was super awesome because they just provided more clarity. So we could just like embrace all the life experiences and not need the next person that we go on a first date with to be like Prince Charming, like happily ever after. They might be, if that's what you want out there. But even if they're not, there's some life experience there that, and everybody's different. Like every time I've ever interacted with anyone, like it's just been a different life experience that I can learn from them. I could help them learn. Like we're just mirrors for each other. So I love that you mentioned that.
And that's so beautifully said, because I think that also plays into the play part, like to see, like for instance, also in sexuality, like instead of making it this big thing, like, oh, I might like BDSM, I would kind of like to try that out sometime to just see what it feels like. So to just have the experience, like maybe this is my thing. I just want to feel it sometime. And to also see it like that with relating, like I might date somebody who isn't at all the normal type that I would date, just to see how my system responds to that. What you're saying, because of that, you get to know yourself more and more. You become clearer and clearer. Like, actually, that worked better than I thought. Okay, cool. I'm going to take that in to really see like how does your system respond to every experience, and because you might not be aware of what it is that you're actually maybe really needing or wanting or enjoying.
Absolutely. And then when it comes to that, like BDSM or it is anything, the way that I look at it is it's almost like for me, like, you know, when you watch a movie with someone that they've already seen and they love, it's like one of their favorite movies and you haven't seen it yet. And it's like they love like watching it with you and like you're having fun because you see how much fun it is for them. Like for me, if someone is super passionate about something and like I'm open to like just a life experience that maybe I haven't had yet, like it's really fun to like feel like the passion and the energy. Like it's just a way more enjoyable experience. And I still will get to choose if that's a life experience that I want to continue having or if it's just a cool experience and then I want to go in a different direction. But it's really fun to like, for me, if somebody is super passionate about anything like sexually, they have a fetish or something, like I'm actually super curious to experience that because I want to see I would just want to feel their energy because they're enjoying it so much. So
beautifully said. Yes.
Can't believe I just compared watching a movie with someone, but that just popped in my head. I was like, that's because I know I've just done this recently, like watch something with someone that they'd seen it before, but I hadn't, and it was just like super fun for them to watch it with me because I hadn't seen it. So fun stuff. I love it. This is fun conversation.
I'm really enjoying this too.
So your clients then, the people that you're working with, mostly people that are just all across the board as far as in different types of relationships, just all sorts of different people. I love it.
So what I like to say is I give also relationship coaching, but only one-on-one. So I'd like to empower people to show up to any relationship, whatever that is, if it's a casual one-night stand or a long-time marriage. Because I think like there is some really basic things of being able, for instance, to communicate what you need, what's going on, how to communicate, or how to work, for instance, with attachment. I don't know if you know anything about this, but like the anxious versus avoidant attachment, like how to kind of show up for your triggers in attachment for things that you're needing, things that you're like hurting about easily. Like, so I work with my clients really on creating wholeness, I think, creating kind of, again, owning it. So I don't think anybody's broken. I think actually what a lot of coaching work is about is integrating it. So if I have a part of me that is really jealous, instead of saying that's wrong, we need to remove that, I actually bring it in and I say, why? What is it? What value is it giving me? You know, how is it helping me? It's helping me in a way, right? That energy is helping me in a way. So that's really what I try to do with people. Instead of saying like, oh, I'm so obsessive over this man and that's wrong and we need to remove that, I do the opposite and say, actually, let's listen to it. And that's also what Tantra actually, this really tantric philosophy, to say that every emotion isn't necessarily good or bad. It just is. And it's life and it's intelligent. So the part of you that's super jealous has an intelligence behind it because your system designed it to protect you, to take care of you, to whatever it is. It designed it out of love for you. And to start seeing the intelligence behind it again. So to actually embrace it. So indeed, when you're angry, feel that. That is so much life energy. Also jealousy, that's so much life energy. Like most people that are depressed or burnout are rejecting a lot of what's there. I was very burned out. Like I was rejecting that whole part of me that was frustrated with the life that I had because I thought I should be okay with it. The moment I let that frustration in, there was energy again, there was life. And to really embrace that, to live that. So if I'm angry and frustrated, fucking feel the physicality. You won't need coffee.
I want to push a button here, Sophie. I want to push some buttons in the audience. This is fun for me. Whenever we talk about jealousy, because all the emotions, everything that we're experiencing, it's all just mirrors for us. Like if we find ourselves like looking at someone and like being jealous of what's going on, it's just something that is unresolved. Like just it's an invitation for us to look within and see what's going on there. So when it comes to the energy of jealousy, what I find fascinating about human beings, and not saying this inside of the context of two people have come together and they've made a commitment to each other to have a monogamous relationship, like that's their agreement.
Right.
Like when it comes to that, like this doesn't really apply to that. But in every other case, I'm going to share something that I find really fascinating as human beings, because we're jealous of someone's, say they're experiencing life with another human being. And they say, they come back and maybe you guys aren't open to talk about this, maybe you are, but they say, I just had one of the most blissful experiences that I've had. One of those high frequency moments where it's just like awesome energy. Like when they look back on their life, like these would be one of the moments that I will remember. And so it's interesting to me that as human beings, we'd be happy for every human on the planet, every single one that told you I just had one of my favorite experiences in life. Except for the one that we say that we love and care about, but because it wasn't with me, now I don't feel good about this. Yeah. You shouldn't have any experiences. So I find that fascinating, which a lot of that is what jealousy is. And again, this is not like someone cheating on someone or being lying or manipulating. Yeah. But I find that fascinating because for me, like if someone like wants to tell me about any fun experience, so here's how like extreme I am. And this hasn't specifically happened to me, but I'm like fully mean this with every cell in my body. Someone could be on their way to come see me and get a text message from like high school crush or like celebrity crush or something and be like, Noel, like I'm sorry, like I really want to go hang out with them. I'd be like, awesome. Like I want them to experience life as well, like in the higher frequencies, even if it's not with me. Like I'm going to be happy for another human being just because it's the only moment promised. So I want all of us to experience life in whatever awesome frequency that we can experience life, whether it's with me or not. Now, if it was with me, if I'm involved too, even more awesome, because I want to experience these things too. But that doesn't mean that I don't want you to experience them if it's not with me. So I find that fascinating about humans.
Yeah. So my advice in that situation would be to speak to your partner about what it is that you're feeling. And for them, they don't need to change anything. Doesn't mean that they can't do it, but just say like, if it does trigger you, just say, oh, I notice I'm feeling really jealous and I kind of wish you didn't have that experience. And it's ugly. And I don't like feeling like this, but just to kind of reveal yourself to them without demanding, without manipulation, without forcing them into something, but just being really honest about what you're feeling. And I think if you learn to communicate like that with your partner, especially in non-monogamous settings, you will move through your trigger because you're seen by your partner. Your partner sees you like, okay, they're in pain and they're having a rough time. I'm not fixing it, I'm just seeing it. And it'll allow you to move through the trigger. And that doesn't mean that the trigger will then be gone. But the more you go through an experience that you really don't like and you know that you survive it, your brain gets a signal like, oh, actually, every time my partner goes on a date with somebody else and has an amazing time, I can actually survive it. And you get a rewiring that you are safe when that happens. You'll see that the jealousy will start shifting. But to be always authentic and honest about where you're feeling, and don't pretend you're fine with the situation when you're not.
For sure. Because if it's something you truly don't want to experience, then what we said a second ago, you can attract someone that wants to experience life, monogamously with you. Like, I just love to. I'm so open and honest with people from like day one, and there's been so many. So I've been single, Sophie, since January 2016 by choice, and everybody that I've interacted with since then has known that if I'm with you, like we're both choosing to spend time together, like you're gonna get 100% of me, like all my energy, all my presence, like we're gonna see how much we can enjoy life, and if we both choose to hang out again tomorrow, awesome. If we choose to do other things, awesome. If we choose to hang out again in a week, awesome. Like there's just tomorrow's not promised, so I'm not trying to like manipulate or control like how we hang out or when we hang out or any of that stuff. So as long as people are cool with that, but also knowing for me that I'm not trying to plan out my whole next future with just one person. Like I'm just not looking for that right now. Who knows if I evolve, in the future? I don't know. But so just being open about that, there's been plenty of people that I've said that to, where there's been a mutual attraction, and they're like, no, well, I am looking for a monogamous relationship, and I feel like I probably will get hurt if I went there with you. And so it's just been all good. Like we could still be friends. Like it's like doesn't have to be. So for me, I just have so much peace that people knowing that like right off the bat. And so for everybody out there, just to drive this home even more, if you can be honest with yourself, therefore honest with others, you will attract people that are totally cool with whatever you want. And then you can enjoy life from a place of like just authentic, like just enjoyment of life. And it doesn't have to be this like I haven't dealt with any drama when it comes to relationships in years. Like, not that my last relationship that was dramatic. It was just we had a different agreement starting. And the reason it ended is because I became more aware of who I am and what I want, and had to be honest about that. And then that's what eventually dissolved the relationship. So I'm just excited for more people to be able to be honest, because I'll see like celebrities and different people, and like there's like these cheating scandals. I'm like, dude, you knew you weren't monogamous from the beginning of this. Like I knew that you weren't. Like it was just obvious that you weren't. But then you told this other human that you were, and now there's this like big scandal. Like to me, it's not a scandal. It's just it was inevitable that eventually it was going to happen. So
I would love for people to just feel that you don't have to do this one thing. Again, it's the same thing with the ejaculation. Like it needs to be a choice. If you want monogamy because that serves you and that nourishes you in your life, and that's really what you want, then go for it. But don't make it the default setting. And there's so many flavors in open relating that you really have to feel like, what is it that I do and don't want? Like I had the same thing. I was single for 4 years, but connected. And I had 5-6 steady lovers, long-term lovers. And that I had the same agreement with what you were saying. Like when we're together, we are fully present, otherwise not. And it doesn't matter. And I let go if I see you another time. I completely let you go after that. And I love you and I feel love for you. But there isn't a commitment after the date. But when we're together, we're fully together. It meant that honestly, for 4 years, I had every need met. I felt spiritually connected, intimately connected. I felt like I was loved. I had everything. And it worked for me because they were different type of men. So I could always be like, okay, this week I need somebody like this. And this week I need somebody more like that. And it felt like I could really see what it was that week that would work for me. And it felt so empowered. And I remember everybody around me thought there had to be lots of drama. I was like, actually nothing, because we're so clear with each other. There must be lots of jealousy. Actually, no, because we're so clear with each other. And also, like, they would think, like, I would never find anybody else that would want to be part of this. Because I was so clear and honest, you could trust me in the situation that I was in, right? I wasn't going to do something weird or strange. And so I think these kind of things are so important. And I really urge every man and woman to really feel what it is that you need in life right now. That's celibacy, multiple lovers, no lovers, some weird setting that you think this can't, nobody wants this. When you own it, you will find somebody that does. But own it, be honest. Don't pretend you are monogamous when you are actually not.
Please. Stop. Please don't. I love it.
If your heart is totally capable of loving two people, why limit it? And if you only feel safe when there is one person, then do that. Like also own that part. Like if that's what you need, then go for it.
100%. I never speak out against anything. I'm just speaking for being truthful and being honest with yourself and with others. Like I'm for that. I'm not against any specific thing. So I'm never like speaking out against them. I'm just not. I just want everybody to enjoy life. I want to say something else that's really important for all of us to realize, because you illustrated it so beautifully when you described like your past situation and how you felt love and all of these things. It's what I want to share with people. Like when we use the word love, like love is a frequency also that can be measured. And, even though we might say, I love someone, if in the moment we're yelling at them or throwing something at them, we're not being loved in that moment. You may pass a lie detector test if it says, do you love them? You probably will pass. But in the moment, are we being loved? And so my point is, no matter how long we've known someone, when I'm experiencing life with someone and like we're experiencing the frequencies that we're talking about, all they feel for me is love and beyond, because that's the frequency that I'm in the whole time. So my thoughts are filled with love, my words are filled with love, my actions are filled with love and beyond, because like love is just a label. Like it's just we can go beyond these labels. So I want to just stress that so much because we can have whatever it is that we desire, like we've been talking about, and experience just as much love as if I've known this person for 10 years.
Yes.
Like, it really doesn't matter. Like, I can know you for 5 seconds and already be like flowing with you, and momentum goes up. And it's just, I've had so many times where I've met people that I didn't know exist 1 second ago. And like, we have eye contact, and it's almost like we're talking before we're talking, and then spend the rest of the day or multiple days together. And it's just like, where did this human come from? Like, and the love they feel for me is the same love that my, ex that I was with for 5 years, 6 years experienced. So it's just, I want humans to know this so much, as far as it doesn't, it's not, love isn't about how much time you're with someone. It's about the present moment. Are you being loved? And we can be that, not even just in a relationship or sexual content, like just for humanity, period. If you leave your house and you're being loved, guess what? Everybody that you encounter while you're out in the world, the thoughts that you're going to have are be filled with love, the words that you speak, the actions that you take. Like, if you're just going to be loving your brothers and sisters, this collective community that we call humanity. So,
I would almost say in my case, like, I find it more, for me, the love flows more easily with somebody that I know less, that I've spent less years with. Like, for me, I feel so much love in a one-night stand. Like, it's just, because I can just feel the human being. For me, it's actually harder when I've been with somebody for longer. Like, there is love, but it's a different kind.
You guys have love.
And that's just completely novelty in being completely in the moment and in awe. For me, that's almost easier in the casual or the not like prolonged relationship.
Well, here's why for you guys out there, like, because the longer that we have relationships with anyone, whether they be parents or siblings or friends, we have a practice way of being with these people, because we have all these life experiences with them already that are now being brought into the present moment. So you already kind of know how each other responds to different circumstances, and you're used to acting a certain way. So that comes into the right now frequency. So you can feel that throughout. So like, if you've had like some drama with like your parents or your siblings, like, you kind of know, like, I don't really, if I really want to talk to them or do this with them, because you kind of already, so that infects where your frequency can go. So we could still go like awesome place with people that we've known for a long time, for sure. But I totally know what you're saying, because it's just pure when you don't have any of those life experiences with someone. So you're just being that frequency. It's just a pure vibration. So I get what you're saying.
Beautiful.
I love it. So this has been a fun conversation. Anybody that's on here with us live, if you have any questions, you can put in the chat box, or I'll even bring you on video if you want. Totally cool. If you guys that are watching this on any of the streams want to join us live, I'll tell you 2 ways so you can ask questions, because I'm not looking at Facebook. I can't see YouTube. I can't see any of these things, but you can join us on the Zoom if you want to. You can either find either or I'll give you my and Sophie's Instagrams right now, and we both have we both have stories on there that you can click and join us on here if you want. Mine is the Angel of Abundance, and Sophie's is, I'm going to do this from memory. It's Sophie.Josephina. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. I like to test my memory sometimes.
Both with an S and PH.
Yes. So you guys can find us on there. Or you can go to universalabundance.co/podcast. That's another way. I just want to give people a chance. If they want to have questions that they want to ask, or if there's anything that is curious. I've been loving doing these live, Sophie, because if not, people will have to wait for a few weeks before they come out, because my editing is as fast as it can be, but I record a lot of these. So the people that are on here live, like, I'm happy that they're able to get, because even one thing out of this conversation, which you've shared a ton, just that one little thing can help someone just right now. Like, I mean, it could be so valuable in all areas of life, but definitely when it comes to interpersonal relationships. So I love it.
I have someone asking a question. They're saying how to be more present during lovemaking, especially when you go into your head easily.
The fact that you want me to answer that, I was already giving my answer.
Yeah, go for it.
So the fact that you're even asking that, you're 99% of the way there. The 1% that's left is a practice on how you're going to choose in the moment. So the fact that you're even noticing yourself, you're aware of it, because a lot of people will be experiencing lovemaking and not even realize that they're doing it. And the effect is you don't allow yourself to feel these frequencies that we're talking about. So the fact that you care enough to even notice it, so for me, one of my biggest challenges in life was, through meditation, I wasn't aware this was a blind spot or shadow work or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I noticed just from my time as being a competitive athlete as a little kid, we used to talk a lot of shit to each other, just like all the time, like everything, like no matter where we were, just alpha males, just like talking shit to each other. And like it just, if you heard us from the outside, you'd be like, do they even like each other? Like the things that they're saying to each other, just so. Into my adult life, like I've never been one to like verbally assault people, but mentally you can assault people as well, and it's still affecting your energy. But I wasn't aware of this, so I didn't even have the choice to change it.
Yeah.
Now, if I notice myself being critical at all, even like one critical thought of someone else or myself or whatever, I have no problem saying, stop it, Noel. First thought. So the momentum doesn't go. So if you're experiencing lovemaking, you notice yourself going somewhere else, I would just say, stop it to yourself. And then go right back to how enjoyable this is. How much can you appreciate? Even ask the question, how much can I enjoy this? How good can this feel?
Yeah.
And now your energy and your focus and your attention is on that. And then wherever we put our attention is where we put our energy. And wherever we put our energy long enough, momentum will kick in, and then you'll be able to reach these frequencies. So the fact that you're asking that question is awesome. You're 99% of the way there. It just becomes practice. And eventually you'll get to the point where you don't even have to ask that question because you're just used to being so present that for me, if I'm enjoying any part of life, especially sexual with someone, and just the rest of the planet doesn't exist. Like my phone's on Do Not Disturb. Like the only thing my phone's being used for is to play my awesome playlist that I have on Spotify for this experience. Other than that, it doesn't exist.
Yes, my friend, this is how it should be. Yes. I think what I would like to add to that is maybe to first slow down so that you can feel what is actually going on. So I think when we're not present, we're probably rejecting some part of the experience. So you're maybe thinking, oh, I don't look good. And you're thinking, oh, I shouldn't be thinking that. So to actually say, okay, what am I feeling? Okay, I see that there's a part of me that's insecure. Okay, that's there. To just kind of tune in with what you're feeling, both, because that's like, you can only be present with yourself, with each other when you're present with yourself. And for that, you need to be present with what your experience is as it is, so that it can flow again. And I think the other thing is actually to breathe together. I think it's so beautifully simple, but it just ask your lover, can you breathe with me? It'll bring you right into the moment. Just have your breath synchronize, or ask your partner to help you breathe deeper, and you'll be there. You'll be there in the moment. Yeah.
Great advice. Breathing is always like, for whether you do it with a partner, it's super powerful. If you can just do that for yourself also, like breathing, like conscious breaths, like bring you back into the conscious breaths, like doing it on purpose, bring you back into the present moment. This is useful in any area of life. You find yourself being overly like anxious or worried, if you can be aware of it, because you don't have a choice to do anything about it unless you see it. So this is all starts with awareness. But once you are, that's a great tool to bring us back. Just that, like, raise my frequency. Like if I was being measured right now, just that would be, and I'm already vibing high, like empowering. So yes.
And I think the other one is actually also sound. I think we've all suppressed our sound, and especially in sex, we think sound should look a certain way or sound a certain way. And I think just letting some sound come up on the exhale, and it doesn't have to be anything, it can just be right? Just that kind of activates your primal brain, and that's the part that goes into freeze, flight, or fight. That's also the part that goes back to presence. So to just let sound come out, especially for the guys, because the guys are very good at not doing anything until they ejaculate.
I was just going to say that, like, even the sounds that you make, like the sounds that you make during the act of the sexual experience, girls, you guys are better at this, but even I noticed sometimes you guys suppress too, if you feel like you're like letting it. If you let out what wants to come out, like your frequency goes so much higher. I mean, it's just like, if you suppress, like if you have to suppress, like you're suppressing your energy. So you're just not going to experience what we talked about. The energy orgasms that we talked about, no chance if you're suppressing anything. So as a guy, like whatever wants to come out, like I'm enjoying it. I have no problem verbalizing like what I'm feeling, and just say, like anything that it's a totally present experience, because that's what's allowing the energy to go up. And the more you practice and enjoy it. And what I love about frequency also, Sophie, I know I realize this too. Once we touch these frequencies, like once we've touched them, like we can get back to them way easier.
Oh yes. So yes, like, it's like a pathway that now we know how to get to.
For sure. Like I couldn't have full body energy orgasms until I could. And then once I could, now I can have them very, very easily. Like just very easily. Like I don't even have to be with another person. I just know how to get that frequency now. And it's awesome, So highly
So
recommend.
this when I work with my male clients, I tell them this, like I give them exercises to help move the energy throughout their body and to make it a full body experience. So the first 10 times you're gonna not feel anything, and then all of a sudden it happens. Like trust me that it will come, and then it will just be something that's part of your playbook. But maybe the first 10 times you think, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't feel anything.
For sure.
But it's the same with learning a sport. Like the first few times you suck at it, and then all of a sudden it's there. All of a sudden you have the muscle memory. It's the same with this.
Great example. I highly recommend you guys connect with Sophie if you want to learn and experience all these things.
Yes.
Like if I was teaching somebody this, like I don't know if I'd be the best teacher just because I would just teach you, because the only way I was able to experience any of this wasn't by anybody helping me teach it, but I just got used to living my life in higher frequencies, and it became a practice. And so once it became normal to, because a lot of times as human beings we try to manipulate the external in order to feel certain ways internally. So like I'm not feeling good, so I want to go eat an ice cream cone, or I want to go do this, or I want to go get a massage, or I want to. It's more self-care, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like do it, like that will raise your frequency also. But if you can go into those experiences of going to get the massage or going into the sexual experience, and you're already like vibing high, and the actual experience just takes the momentum up, that's when you can actually touch these higher frequencies. Like this is so. I kind of just discovered it just because I just got used to living that way, and the momentum kept going. And it's like all of a sudden, I'm like, damn, my whole body is shaking. Like, where did this come from? This is what you girls are experiencing. Like, yes, I've discovered, and I didn't know it was possible, so that helped as well. Like, I knew that this was possible. It didn't like worry me or anything. Like, why is my whole body shaking? Like, I knew what was going on. But yeah, I was a teacher. I would say this is going to become a normal way of being just in your life. Like, and then the practices that awesome teachers like Sophie can teach will, I think, speed the process up because you're consciously doing things to be able to do that. It doesn't have to be as long of a journey as mine.
And everyone can do this. Everyone can do this. If you have a body, you can do this.
100%.
You can do this, men and women.
Yes.
This is part of your experience. Yeah.
Ladies don't have to be the only ones having multiple orgasms. And I swear I was so envious of you guys for years. I was like, dang. You guys can, even when I got to the point where I could ejaculate when I wanted to, I still wasn't having multiple orgasms. So I was like, you guys always are having more fun than us. I just knew
have a pretty good deal there. Yeah, we have a pretty good deal.
I have closed the gap. Like I still can't feel exactly. So here is another thing that's cool. Last thing I'll say, and then I have one more question for you, unless you inspire more stuff. But what's awesome when you can get to the point where you're in tune with your frequency and your energy, and you're in tune with your partner's frequency and energy, you can get to the point where when your female partner, for guys out there, when they do orgasm, it's like you can orgasm like at the same, because like it's such a like a powerful like jolt of energy. Like when they're orgasming, if you're with them and you're present to it, like it takes you up too. So it's like it's fun, like because you're orgasming at the same time, and you still don't have to ejaculate if you can.
Because what then happens is then when somebody orgasms, they pull up the energy, right? They lift off.
Like
and then especially as a man, if you can control your ejaculation, you can go with them. Mm-hmm. And now we're at this level, and then maybe he has kind of a physical or a full body orgasm, and then pulls up the energy for more. And that's why I think, like this, like whether or not we let the other partner orgasm, I think it's much more about like the depth of orgasms that we can create, because every orgasm is like a new portal opening. It's like a new door opening. We go a layer deeper. We go a layer deeper.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a fun conversation. This is by far my favorite part of life. If you guys can't tell, like I've been having more and more of these conversations with you guys, with you awesome sexuality teachers, and I just love talking about, because it allows me to talk about and to experience like just frequency and just energy and what else is there. Again, going back to the first thing I said, like, would you rather be having less fun? Like, I mean, so we can appreciate all the elements of life, and every moment's not going to be like bliss or like euphoria, but regardless, if we can make the most out of whatever moment we're in, and just we can really appreciate the moments where we are able to go to these places, like the whole life experience is awesome in its own regard.
Beautiful. I love it.
You've shared so many awesome things. The only other thing that I always want to know, just to make sure that we squeeze all the juice out of you, even though you have an unlimited amount of juice, and we won't get all of it in this one conversation, but you and I will collaborate again. I am already affirming that.
I can feel that.
Yeah. Just knowing, the internet is going to live most likely for a long time. Doesn't seem like it's going anywhere anytime soon. just anything that you'd want the audience to know, whether they're hearing this now live or when it's released in a few weeks or 50 years from now, that you just would want them to know that you feel will make an impact on their lives. It could be anything, and you've been doing it the whole time. So.
I think to invite your emotions into your sex. So to really not think that sex should be this beautiful, oh my God, amazing thing. Like, especially for the feminine being in the sexual relationship. So the person that is expressing life and is receiving, express your inner world. If you are like, cry during sex, get angry during sex, like express the emotions during sex, because sex is such a insanely powerful catalyst to move through emotions. Like, I have honestly healed my deepest traumas during sex, because I was with male partners that could hold my very big states of emotions. And they could hold it, like, literally in their penetrative power, they could hold it. And that, like, that for me doesn't come close to what, like, psychotherapy can do. Like, psychotherapy is very important. It's definitely an element what we need, but we need the physicality as well. I've moved through my deepest traumas through sex. And I think I would love the world to just reframe sex again, what I said, from transactional to like this, the arena for transformation, for healing, for manifestation. Like, you want to create a new life, manifest it in your sex. Like, put yourself in completely the reality of what you are trying to create into your life. Do that while you're making love, and it will come to you. Like, sex is such a powerful tool, and I'd love for everybody to start seeing it like that again. And you can do that with your one night Tinder date. Can do that with everybody. So yeah, and I think related to that, for that, we need to have comfort with the discomfort. So if your partner is crying and you think, oh my God, what did I do? Or if your partner's hurt or whatever, their ego's hurt because you asked them to do something slightly different, you don't have to fix it. It's okay when things are uncomfortable in sex. It's so okay. Well, let that be. Like, really be with what is in your sexuality and anything in life, especially your sexuality. It's okay. Let it be there.
So good. You guys rewind and listen to what Sophie just said again. For those of you guys that can rewind on live, you guys can't rewind. I'm going to end this on Instagram because they're going to cut me off and then we'll lose the live. Okay. So I'm going to end it here.
Perfect by time.
Instagram. Yes. You have to be careful with Instagram lives. They will delete your recording if you don't catch it in time. It'll just
really.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It won't save automatically. Like, you have to hit end and then share it. You have to actually hit share it. So that's done. That was such a beautiful, like what you just shared. Just a beautiful illustration for all of us, and just excited for everybody out there that you've got some new awareness. I'm sure from this conversation, and that awareness now gives you choice to to just try it on for you. Whatever it is that you want to do with it. The power is yours. You can't become unaware of anything that you've now become aware of. Which I love having these conversations for primarily that reason. Because I know as human beings, when the light bulb comes on, it can't go off once we're adults. Like, so this is awesome. You're an awesome human. So anything you want to share with the audience as far as things you have going on, or you want them to know about, or anything like that?
I'm about to launch a program for women on healing their relationship to the masculine. So we're going to go into a really deep, I think 4 or 5 weeks on really healing everything with your father, partner, inner dude, the culture, so that we can rebalance your inner masculine, inner feminine, and so that you can attract the kind of masculinity that you're actually craving for. And for men, I'm about to launch a program called Deeper Lovers, which is exactly the kind of guy that you are, I think. It's really about bringing men into their ability to lead and to create especially a sexual situation where they can show up for whatever energy is there, and they can build it up, and they can let it move up, and they can be there for that, and show up for the feminine in that sense, to create a healing situation. So those 2 things are about to be launched, so I'm very excited to do that. But please follow me on Instagram. I'm sharing wisdoms there every day about everything sex, love, and relationships.
I love that you're working with both women and men. I really love that a lot.
I think that's so important. Like, honestly, I've been in the spiritual community, the tantric community for a long time, and there's a lot of people just doing goddess empowerment, and I think great, but for some odd reason they're also still single, because it doesn't attract a man. Because if you completely put a woman in her goddessness, it's actually masculine energy. She's like, look how amazing I am. Like, that doesn't. We need to learn from each other. We need to have the conversation together. We need to have compassion for each other. Like, what is it that a woman is struggling with or needs, and the same for a man. When we understand each other, we can relate. So I find it really important to work with both.
Me too. I love the feminine energy way too much to ever exclude you guys from anything that I'm doing. So just know you're always invited to anything that I'm doing. So because people said, Noah, how come you don't start like something just for guys? I was like, well, I do things for guys also, but not ever just for guys. Like I just prefer to bring everybody involved. So
and I think we learn so much from each other in this.
Yeah,
we should have the conversation be open.
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all, whether you label yourself male or female, like we're all the same non-physical energy that has chosen to come express itself in these physical bodies that might be called Sophie, might be called Noelle, might be called who you are out there, but we're just the different expressions of the same non-physical stuff. So like, if we can fully embrace our connectedness, in all its beautiful ways, and be able to enjoy life with each other, that's the world that I want to see. So I wanted to make sure I...
Oh, I think your hand's on the microphone.
Is there a microphone over here? You hear me now?
Yeah, now I hear you. Yeah,
no idea. Like where it's coming from. Interesting. That's good to know. I'll probably have my hand there sometimes where the volume it varies when I'm doing these. No, this has been so much fun, and you guys definitely follow Sophie and connect with her. One thing I know for certain is anything that she chooses to create while she's here, you'll feel the same beautiful energy that you felt throughout this conversation, and just makes it fun to know that each other exists. And happy that you're in Amsterdam. As I stop this stream, I'm going to ask you a couple of things if you have a couple of minutes to chat with me. And yes, I'm just super excited to know you now. Like I said, first but not the last collaboration with you for sure. And you guys out there, just sending you guys so much love and light and positive, happy, healthy, abundant vibes right now. And anytime that you hear this 50 years from now, say hello to Sophie and I. We're still thriving here on Earth. Look us up. And just sending you guys so much love. And share this episode. It definitely will be impactful for people. And maybe give them a little preliminary, like, hey, be present to this. Like, sit down. Like, this will be stuff that you want to be present to. This could help anyone in any area of life, and then definitely specifically in the love and relationships category, the fun experiences category, the reaching the higher frequencies category. This will greatly impact that. So appreciate you guys. Thank you guys that have been subscribing and sharing and reviewing and all that stuff. You're making it easier for people to find these episodes. Just learned there's no rule on iTunes that you can only leave one review. So if you're inspired to say that Sophie Human was so awesome, like, do it. I'll screenshot it and send it to her. I'm sure she'll appreciate that.
Thank you.
So yes, iTunes reviews, go leave them for you guys that haven't already. I appreciate you guys. And we'll talk to you guys soon on another episode. Until I talk to you next time, sending you tons of positive vibes. Talk to you guys soon. You're awesome, Sophie. That was fun.
Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this platform to share my voice.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that.
I'm going to stop the stream. Bye.